All right, it worked that time. Look at that. Okay, so the title of today's discussion is The Consciousness Behind the Words. You are the power behind the manifesting technique. All right, so however you want to talk about it, if you want to talk about affirmations, you want to talk about visualizations, we are talking about how you are the power behind it all. It's all you, it's all consciousness. Okay, so let's get right into it. All right, affirmations are not God. They are reminders of God within you. Too many people worship the words and forget the word behind them. The power is not in the sentence you repeat, but in the consciousness from which it is spoken. A lifeless mind can chant, "I am abundant," 1,000 times and see nothing change, while a soul that knows its divinity can whisper it once and the heavens respond. The affirmation is the echo, but you are the voice. The statement is the seed, but the soil is your awareness. Affirmations were never meant to replace the source. They were designed to bring you back to it. They anchor your focus in the present moment, all right? So when we talk about affirmations like tools, affirmations, what do? They anchor your focus in the present moment, pulling you from the hypnosis of doubt and fear, but they are only as alive as the consciousness behind them. Right, Big Glow came on here the other day and is likening them to a tool, to a hammer. Right, the hammer has no meaning, no power until you pick it up. The same way the affirmation means nothing until your divine ass speaks it. All right, they are only as alive as the consciousness behind them. Without presence, they become empty rituals, words thrown into the wind with no listener. With awareness, however, each word becomes a decree, and your consciousness becomes the temple where those decrees take form. So use affirmations as a mirror, not as a master. Let them remind you of the one speaking them, right? The infinite I am breathing through your human form. When you say I am love, remember that the power is not in the phrase, but in the being that animates it. The affirmation does not work for you. It works through you. You are the electricity that gives the tool life. Without you, the conscious presence, it is just sound. But with you, it becomes creation. Beautiful. All right, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So let's talk about this. We're going to talk about this from the perspective of affirmations, visualizations, all those other things, all right? All those other things. Salvation is only for the Israelites. It's unfortunate for everybody else then. All right, so the consciousness behind the words, you are the power. Many have turned affirmations into idols. They recite them like sacred spells, hoping the repetition itself will open heaven's gates. But words are only as alive as the awareness breathing through them. Without presence, even the most powerful affirmation is just sound. With consciousness, a single whisper can bend reality. All right. So let's walk and talk about divine remembrance. All right. Divine remembrance. So we're going to start off with two quotes. Okay. Number one is John 1:1. Okay. John 1:1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. All right. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. The Word was with God. Right. Now, like I always say, we're interested in speaking about this metaphysically. Okay. I'm looking at this metaphysically. I'm not looking at this like a history book. Okay. If you want to do that, that's cool. But we're going to look at this as a history or as a metaphysical lesson. Also, key point. You don't have to believe this. You don't have to believe in anything to get the life that you want. Right? God, the Spirit of God is pure spirit, pure awareness, pure consciousness. It just is. Okay? It's above your love for it, your anger in it, your bitterness, your frustration, all of those things. It simply unconditionally supports you in showing you who you are, in mirroring back the reality that you assume that you are. Okay? So if you want to take this from a spiritual perspective, cool. I deliver it in a spiritual perspective because I'm a spiritual dude, right? But you can still live the life of your dreams. You can still get the things that you want without truly buying into the spiritual concepts, all right? So keep that in mind, all right? So in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Now, let's break this down in a different way, okay? So we know the first manifestation of all that there is, the Spirit of God, okay, is the Word. What is the Word? The Word is I am. Okay, the word is I am. Now, if we go to the New Testament, we have the first begotten Son of God, which is Jesus. Right? Metaphysically, Jesus represents your I am awareness, the first begotten Son of God, right? The first manifestation of God. So this is why when we talk about Jesus from a New Testament metaphysical perspective, or Yeshua, whatever you want to call him, from a New Testament metaphysical perspective, we're talking about I am awareness, the Christ consciousness within you, your knowing of yourself as source. Okay? In the Old Testament, many people played these roles. Many people play these roles, all right? So that's number one. Number two, the second quote, all right, is Isaiah 55:11. So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void. Meaning your word is power. Your affirmation is power, right? Your presence is power. Now, why I put those in that order is because you have to remember when we talk about the word, okay? When we talk about the word, why is your word powerful? It's because you are the word made flesh. You're already the manifestation of the word made flesh. You are already the identity of divinity. You are the identity of divinity, okay? God is pure spirit. You are the identity of this pure spirit. Okay? So let's talk about that Isaiah 55:11. All right, so shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth, it shall not return unto me void. Okay? Every decree that you speak is a seed carrying the DNA of the divine, right? Job 22:28 says what? Thou shalt decree a thing and it shall be added unto thee. Thou shalt decree a thing and it shall be added unto thee, right? What does decree mean? What is decree? Decree means to speak as a legal authority. Go Google what decree means, right? It doesn't mean to ask. It doesn't mean to beg. It doesn't mean to plead. It doesn't mean to whine. It doesn't mean to cry. It means to speak as a legal authority. So when we say thou shalt decree a thing and it shall be added unto thee, okay? To speak as a legal authority. All right, cool. So every decree you speak is a seed carrying the DNA of the divine. When consciousness utters through your tongue, creation bows in obedience. The moment you say, I am, the universe rearranges itself to reflect that decree. Your words are not drifting prayers. They are commands written in the language of being. Speak with reverence, for heaven listens not to your tone, but to your knowing. This is why we even say God will not be mocked, right? I can't declare abundance and no lack, embody lack, be lack, right? Who are you? Who do you say you are for real? Who are you? Okay? Every syllable born from awareness travels through eternity until it fulfills its purpose. Nothing spoken in faith dies. It simply ripens in silence before returning as form. Let me say that one more time. With your divine ass, so you can hear that, all right? Nothing spoken in faith dies. It simply ripens in silence before returning as form. So let your speech be sacred. Let your affirmations rise not as desperate chants, but as the echo of remembered truth. Okay? There's two different ways that you can be affirming, right? You affirm as if your words are traveling out and you're trying to change reality with your words. Okay? You speak like a beggar. You believe that the power is in you speaking to reality, hoping that it changes. Versus using your affirmations as divine reminders of who you already are. You already are perfect, divine, whole, prosperity. You know what I'm saying? All those aspects of the divine are you because you are the identity of God. You are God. Okay? So with that knowing, now all your words become powerful. With that knowing, your words become powerful. Okay? Let your speech be sacred. Let your affirmations rise not as desperate chants, but as the echo of remembered truth. When you say, I am healed, the law, right? The Old Testament, Lord is the law, okay? Law, Lord, same thing, all right? When you say, I am healed, the law answers, it is done. When you declare, I am prosperous, the field aligns itself to bear fruit, okay? The field, the kingdom of God, the universe, all of these different things, all right? Whatever you want to call it, okay? The mouth of God is your own, and the breath within your lungs is divine wind in motion. Therefore, speak only what you desire to see, for your word will not return void. It will return fulfilled. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right. And then the final quote, Luke 17:21, right? The kingdom of God is within you. The kingdom of God is within you. All right. So let's go a little deeper. When the scriptures speak of the word, they do not refer merely to sound, but to divine consciousness itself. The word is the animating intelligence that speaks creation into being. You are the word made flesh. Your affirmations are only powerful when they are anchored in that knowing. To speak I am love without believing you are love is to echo truth from a distance. But to say it from the awareness of oneness is to command creation itself. What is belief, y'all? What is belief? Because oftentimes we talk about belief, faith, conviction, knowing, all these things, and we think about them from the perspective of how you feel about it. How you feel about it. But you've been creating your reality your entire life. You've never had to worry about how you felt about things until you get into this space all of a sudden, and now it's, well, I have to feel to receive. What is faith? What is belief? What are all these things? I want you, from now on, we talk about knowing or feeling or aware, I want you, it's awareness. Your awareness of this. My awareness of being strong is my faith in being strong. My awareness of being prosperous, meaning the words that I'm saying, the declarations, the decrees that I'm making. My faithfulness, or how frequently I visit that story, that is my faith. Like the good brother Austin said, right? Gravity don't give a damn how you feel. It just works, right? It just works. When you go put that key in that ignition in your car and you turn it, the car doesn't have a meter that says, how do you feel today? And if you feel good enough, it turns on. If you don't feel good, it turns off. This is the same. I want you to think of the mechanism of the law, the Lord, consciousness. It just is. It just works. It just unconditionally reflects you who you are. It does not require, God does not require your faith in God. I know that one can be a little triggering when I say that, right? What do you mean? God does not require your faith in God, right? Your belief, and if you even want to think about your faith in God, think about it like this, all right? Let me put this in a different way. Let me soften up the landing. Let me put a pillowcase down there for you, for your little tender knees, all right? So if the Spirit of God is all that there is, okay? If God is everything, all right? And God animates you, right? Every breath that you breathe, right? Every cell within that breath is filled with God, right? Because God, if God is omnipresent, then omnipresent cannot be over there but not here. That's not omnipresent. That's just some things, okay? So God is omnipresent, all right? So let me put it like this. Your belief, all right, if the Spirit of God, which is pure spirit, chooses to take your identity, how would the Spirit of God say, look, I want to experience something through you. This is who you really are. Well, the answer is obviously you're going to get a desire. You'll have a desire for something, right? A desire for more money, a desire for this, a desire for that. Okay? So now the Spirit of God wants you to have that experience. So now you accepting that this is the truth of who you are. Now I have this desire that is God speaking to me. I am prosperity right now. Me knowing and taking the perspective of prosperity is taking the version, right? It's accepting the version of me that is prosperity. And that version of me that's prosperity is animated by God. So you could say that your faith and your belief in that desire that is given to you from God, you accepting it and accepting that version of you is your belief in God, right? It's one thing to simply believe in something that's separate from you without believing without believing in the promise that it provided to you, right? Two different types of faith, right? But that faith, simply that faith in that being outside of you, does not move anything. It's your acceptance of who you are that moves everything, okay? It moves everything, all right? So here we go. The tool and the source. Affirmations are instruments of remembrance, tools to redirect your focus toward what is eternally true. Why we do the affirmations at the end of each one, and I say the exact same thing before them. I say, you're not trying to be these. You're not trying to become this. This is a divine remembrance of who you have always been, right? You're simply remembering the truth. that in the Father's house are many mansions. Within you are many mansions, many dimensions, many perspectives, infinite of them. You can choose whatever you want. Okay? So you take that acceptance, right? So while we do the affirmations is because let's say that you're going through a tough time, right? Because I don't want y'all to misinterpret what I'm saying, or I don't want to give the wrong impression. I know you won't misinterpret me, but I don't want to give the wrong impression that I'm saying that affirmations and visualizations and all that stuff are bad. I'm not saying any of that. What I'm simply trying to convey right here or illustrate or say is that the power is you. The power is you. All right? It's that going from praying to a God that you believe is separate in the sky to putting all of your faith in these affirmations. Speaking affirmations to a reality, hoping that it will change. Well, it's the same thing when God is within you. You are God. God is closer to you than you are to your jugular, right? Closer to you than your jugular. Closer to you than you are to your own breath. Closer to you than you are to yourself. So it is taking our awareness, it is taking our faith off of things outside of us and putting our faith in the actual true source, the true substance, in the true word, in the true universe, in the true God. That is you, that is within you. Okay? So this is what I'm saying. Now, when you're doing those affirmations from a position of separation, you're doing them as a beggar, as a pleader, simply hoping that something will change out there to prove to you that something outside of you exists. Would that always put you in this chasing mode? There's no fulfillment in that. All right? Sitting around and saying 100 different affirmations to get that person to finally choose you, there's no fulfillment in that. Even when they come back, you're still going to feel like, well, which affirmation do I have to use now? Right? Getting what you want, it feels good for a little bit. Knowing that you are source. Knowing that you are everything. Knowing that God is within you. Knowing that everything you desire is within you. That feels a whole lot better. That's where the fulfillment is now. Now I'm not a victim to anything. I'm not a victim to words, right? And then we think of affirmations and people will try to supply all these rules to you. Like, oh, don't say the word no in your affirmation because the subconscious doesn't know the dip. All of these rules, right? We make God conditional. We make God, if this divine intelligence is the one that gave you this desire, this spirit that's within you, that is you, gave you this desire, then who do we think that we're praying to or affirming to? Whenever we make it conditional and say, oh, well, the subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between no and yes and positive and negative. Why would, if you do, so why wouldn't infinite intelligence know the difference? It just simply begs the question, who do we think that we're affirming or praying to? All right. The wording, right? And we can talk about, how, we'll say like, words are powerful and words are spelling and all. But even that type of limited thinking, right? Sure, that's true. The word is power, right? Sure, that's absolutely true. But the word is simply meant to anchor you into a state of being. It's a reminder of who you are in this present moment. It's not meant for you to sit here and have a Greek dictionary and then a Latin dictionary, and every single word that you speak, you're thinking, oh, I can't even say certain things anymore. Because now all of a sudden, you go and you speak or you watch movies and you have long conversations about that movie with other people. And that movie doesn't show up in your reality. Why? Because you don't take the state of being that is your reality. So it's about state of being. It is about state of being. It is about your awareness, right? And if you have the awareness that if I say no, the bad thing will happen to me, or if I say a negative word, the bad thing will happen. Well, guess what? That's what it is. So it's deeper than just us putting all of our focus, right? We create this separation where it's us here and the power is out there, whether the power is in the word, whether the power is in the dictionary definition of the word, whether the power, like we completely or constantly create these situations where it's us here and the power is over there, and the power is within you. You're so powerful that when you start making up all those rules, those things come into fruition. We see this all the time, right? Think of a spiritual leader that you know, a spiritual teacher that you know, who comes out and gives you game, and then tells you the story how everything is against them and all these people are coming to get them, or they will come to get them eventually. And all of a sudden, everybody around them becomes this echo chamber of that same statement. And then what happens? The very thing that they were speaking about. Your words are powerful. Your state of being is powerful. What you're putting your awareness on is absolutely powerful. Remember that you are the cause of this power, right? You are the source. You are the center of this. All right, cool. So embody truth, embody truth, embody truth, embody truth. Neville Goddard reminds us, right? And I'm saying this for a reason. Feeling is the secret. Because an alarm should go off. Feeling? Alex, feeling? What do you mean feeling, Alex? Feeling is the secret. Remember, when Neville says feeling is the secret, he also said what? When I speak of feeling, I do not speak of emotion, but the acceptance of the fact that it's already done, that it's already yours, that you are already who you say you are. So when we're talking about feelings here, we're not talking about feeling the feeling of prosperity, even though the bills are due. You're simply accepting that because I am source, prosperity is my birthright. I accept who I am. Okay? And now prosperity can flow to me. Okay? So feeling is the secret. The words, right? The words are not magic in themselves. The words are just words. The state of being, the consciousness behind them is the power. Okay? The consciousness behind them is the power. When you say I am abundant but no lack, the universe echoes your knowing, not your phrase. When you know abundance as your nature, your words become creative law. Affirmations then are sacred, not because of what they say, but because of who is saying them. You are not speaking to God. You are not speaking to reality. You are speaking as God. Okay? There's a distinction, right? That's where that's where this kind of whole thing has been leading to. It's going from thinking that you're speaking to God, speaking to reality, speaking to some power outside of you, to understanding that, no. When I say an affirmation, I'm speaking as God. That is where the power is. I'm speaking as God, okay? The affirmation works only when you remember that you are the power animating it. So do the affirmations, do the visualizations, but do them as divine remembrance that you are already who you desire to be. You are already God. You're already prosperity. You're simply saying it as a reminder right now. You already have that. When you visualize it, you're just visualizing to experience it right now. Okay? Perfect. All right, so reflection questions. We got three reflection questions, then a love letter, and then 5 affirmations. Okay? Per usual. Here we go. So number one. Remember, think about these reflection questions, right? The more triggering they are, the better, because it's when we're uncomfortable that we can have the space to grow the most, right? So remember, healing is simply your ability to see that, oh shit, there's a disconnect. Healing doesn't mean I have this long, drawn out journey to go down and pull my past and see what's there and completely, no. The moment that I realize, oh shit, I have been telling a story and who I assume to be is separate than who I actually want to be. That limiting belief. Now I can simply collapse time right there. I collapse my assumption right there. And I read from the same document. Same document. It's on YouTube. Same document that I post to YouTube. All right. So number 1, do I use affirmations as a bridge to my power or as a substitute for it? Okay, think about that question for real. Answer that honestly with yourself. Do I use affirmations as a bridge to my power or as a substitute for it? As a substitute for it, right? Remember, when I know that I'm the power, it doesn't matter how I feel, my word is power, right? This is why even Joel 3:10 says what? It says, let the weak say I am strong. Let the weak say, I am strong. Your words should be a bridge to your power, not a substitute for it. Okay? Meaning, my bad. My bad, y'all. So meaning, if it's a bridge to my power, I know that I know that my word is simply an extension of me and I'm the power. But if it's a substitute, that means that I don't believe that I'm the power. I'm using the word simply as some power. I'm throwing the word at situations that I don't like. Hoping, praying, pleading, begging that it change, that some power hears me and changes this. Right? That's why Joel 3:10 says, let the weak say, I am strong. It doesn't say let the weak reprogram their mind until they feel strong. It doesn't say let the weak feel strong. It doesn't say let the weak regulate their nervous system. It says let the weak say, I am strong. Let the weak say, I am strong. Because from the knowing that you are the power, from that I am awareness, I am strong, right? From that I am source. Okay? Now my words are all powerful because I'm the power behind them. Okay? Because I'm the power behind them. Cool. And number two. When I speak my words, do I know the truth of them or only hope they are true? Okay? And this document is a document I created. I uploaded it to YouTube. So after this, once we get off, I'll upload it to YouTube. You can have it. It's all yours. All right. So number two, when I speak my words, do I know the truth of them or only hope they are true? Do I just accept that my words are law, my words are power, my words are the truth? Or am I just hoping? Okay, and then number three, right? How can I return to the awareness that I am the source behind every sound? Those are two good questions. How to stop stressing and overthinking, and the difference between manifestation and manipulation. I'll talk about those in a second. Once I power through this last couple paragraphs. Okay. How can I return to the awareness that I am the source behind every sound? It's a choice. Returning to the awareness or to the knowing that you are the power is a choice. To say I am the power. Right? Faith is a choice. Faith is a choice. Okay? So here we go. Here's a letter to you. Here's a letter to you. Exactly. This is a journey. You just be. Being is the power, right? Being from the knowing that you are source is it. Okay? We're doing this discussion because I'm because everybody seems to be, Alex, but affirmations, yada, yada. So yeah, you can still do them. But where a lot of y'all are getting, right? A lot of y'all that I'm working with are getting is the point where you're not doing anything. You're not affirming, visualizing for nothing. You're just walking around knowing that you're source and things are showing up, right? You just simply know that my desire is the fulfillment. My desire is the promise. It's done. My desire was the asking. I am the fulfillment. Now it shows up. That's it. Right? This was never supposed to be like, you were never supposed to know about vibration and alignment and frequency and affirmations and visualization. You were never supposed to know about that shit. You were simply supposed to walk around knowing that you were source, knowing that you were I am, knowing that everything works out for you. That was it. And then you were just simply supposed to exist in that knowing. Dance around, frolic through the fucking parks or through whatever, and accept the blessings that flowed into your life, right? Everything else is simply, us as humans trying to make, a logical process out of something that's purely spiritual and that's beyond logic. You are unconditionally sourced. You unconditionally receive everything that you desire. You don't have to affirm for it, because most people, they'll affirm from lack anyway. or their affirmations are simply them trying to get something. Their visualizations are them trying to get something. I've been there. I was for sure there. I was there visualizing every night, waking up in the morning like, oh shit, did I do it right? Hope. I don't know. I felt like I fell asleep too early. Right? Affirming, hoping that, if I do it enough and something will change out there that will prove to me I'm doing it right. Right? Maybe the affirmation needs to be more specific. Maybe it needs to be less specific, more general. Am I sure that God knows what I want when I'm affirming all of these silly questions? Right? Of course, God knows. Right? It's me that's sitting here in confusion as if it's not already done. I'm the one that's affirming from lack all day, wondering why I'm not getting anything. Because I'm simply doing it from the perspective that I am not it. When the truth is I am source, I am God. I'm already perfect. I'm already whole. I'm already prosperity. I'm already divine. I'm already everything that I desire to be. The only reason that I'm not saying it is because what? Because I refuse to accept it. I refused to accept the truth of who I was, and I constantly thought that I had to do some process to get there. Constantly thought that I had to visualize the right way. Oh, what if it's not first person? I can visualize this way, but I can't do it first person. Who cares? That's just me making a rule. Oh, what if it's my subconscious mind blocking me? There's no intermediary between you and God. You just are God. You don't have to go through anything. Oh, maybe my nervous system. How can I receive if I don't feel safe to receive? I started thinking like that shit doesn't even make sense. You telling me if I'm faced with eviction, if I don't feel safe enough to receive the money, I'm just gonna get evicted? I'd feel a lot more safe getting what I wanted versus getting kicked out of the crib. So all of those things, right? These human constructs that we put around manifestation, trying to make this mechanical process, right? It's simply existing. It's simply being. It's simply knowing that you're God and allowing everything to flow to you, right? How many times it took me to get out of that time of trying so hard? I don't know about times. I don't know about how many times it took me, but I'll tell you that, there wasn't a single moment. It was, so like I told you, all right, I was facing eviction. Okay, I was facing eviction. And in that, I didn't know what I was gonna do, right? I was like, man, I'm not gonna be able to go live anywhere. Like, I don't have the money. I was driving Uber at the time. Things weren't what they are right now, I'll put it like that. And so I simply made the choice to decide that the rent's paid in full. Okay, so it was paid in full. It was paid in full. It was paid in full. You know what I'm saying? But while I was saying that, and while I decided that's who I was still trying to do stuff to get the money, right? I was still following kind of the movie role that I was in. And nothing was shaking, right? I was in a broke reality at that time. Right? All I saw was lack. So everybody around me had lack, right? But as y'all all know, or most of y'all know that have been on here, is that the day I was supposed to get kicked out, it was magically paid. Magically, mysteriously paid, right? I went and checked the ledger. It was paid in full, called them. Still don't know who paid it to this day, but it was paid. Now, the thing was, it took me a while to process it, right? I was like, oh shit. But I came to this realization that it doesn't matter what I see, I have whatever I decide that I have, okay? And the next part of that was, even though that was paid off in that moment, I was still broke, okay? Yeah, the rent was paid. I wasn't gonna get evicted then, but I was still broke as shit, okay? So it simply gave me a path, all right? So it wasn't until I got beyond that, it was simply me deciding that I was prosperity, right? It became easier as I just continued to do it, but there was no switch where this was easy. Okay, there was just no switch. There was simply my decision that it doesn't matter if it feels hard or if it feels easy. I've made the choice, so it's done. That was it. It was just a choice. I made the choice, so it's done. All right, and sure, when I'm working with y'all, we have all these magical ass success stories when you're all like, money are just falling. I just woke up with more money and money's just coming out the way. Here's the thing, guys. When you make the decision that it is easy, that, it's you, that you have what you want, the ego is going to get on board. Right? When the ego sees things, it'll get on board. So don't go into this trying to wrestle your ego, thinking that you don't have to have perfect emotions to have perfect results. You simply need to know who you are. You simply need to go to the truth of who you are. I am that I am no matter what. I am prosperity no matter what. I am love no matter what. You had this person, you had this money, it's done, it's paid for no matter what. Okay? And when I say no matter what, don't let that go in one ear and out the other. Because no matter what means no matter what. Now, here's the thing though, okay? Because even when I was in that eviction situation, I want you to really grasp this, because this right here got me beyond the logical mind. Okay, this was me stepping beyond the logical mind. Okay, I hear you. What about when collections keep calling? All right, good for them. Okay, that's exactly what I was gonna say. Okay, every day I woke up thinking that the constable was gonna come knock on that door and kick me out. When the notice was up, when the people were calling, when nobody could give me money, when my car, every time I made money driving Uber, I had to put it in a goddamn gas tank. I wasn't making shit. But through that, right, I had a choice, okay? I had a choice. Which one am I going to put my faith in? Am I going to put more of my faith in the external reality, or am I going to put more of my faith in God? That is the decision that we all have to make. That's the decision that we all have to make, right? Everybody has a story, okay? Well, I don't care if you trying to get an SP. Everybody has a story about their specific person that says, oh, well, what about this? What about that? What about this? As if their situation is unique. Everybody who's facing eviction, foreclosure, whatever the case may be, has a situation. Well, what about this? What about the people calling? What about this? What about that? We all have that. But guess what we all also have? We all also have a choice. We all also have a choice of where am I going to put my faith in? Am I going to have my faith in fear or my faith in God? Who? What? What am I going to do, right? So it's about us. It's about us. Now, yes, of course, this journey, I would be lying if I said right now, of course it's easier. But life is a lot easier, but life has simply reflected me. At that time, it was this divine realization that, oh shit, I've been creating all of this because I've been believing that life should be hard and that money was difficult and that it had to come in this way and I had to do shit I didn't like to get it. And women were acting like this or a certain way. I didn't really have that many problems with women, but even those stories you have to confront. And so, yes, by staying in that story long enough and actually knowing that, oh, because I've decided that this is the story, that's what it is. Now I simply allow reality to change. It doesn't have to be super difficult. It doesn't have to be difficult at all. Okay. You just have to make a choice. Okay. So cool. Love letter to y'all. Got a love letter to y'all. And then affirmations. And then I'll do a little bit of questions. What time is it? I'll probably do like 10 minutes of questions. Yeah, we'll do like 15 minutes of questions and then I'll call it a day. All right? So here we go. You have repeated many affirmations, spoken many truths into the air. But remember, the words themselves are not the power. You are. The affirmation is not your God. It is your mirror. The phrase, I am abundant, I am loved, or I am peace holds no force without the awareness that speaks it. You are the life behind the language. Without your consciousness, even the holiest words are empty shells. Let every declaration remind you of who is declaring it, the eternal I am breathing itself into form. Do not worship the tool. Use it as a bridge back to presence. Each affirmation is only meant to awaken what is already within you. They are not keys to unlock something new, but gentle knocks reminding you that the door was never closed. When you speak them with awareness, you are not asking for change. You are recognizing that change has already been born through your being. So today, speak your affirmations with reverence, but never dependency. Let them flow through you as expressions of remembrance, not requests for rescue. You are not waiting for words to work. You are not waiting for words to work. You are the Word made flesh, giving them meaning. The tool does not move without you, and you are the movement itself. The tool does not move without you, and you are the movement itself. Your divine ass, right? So a couple affirmations. Remember, you're not trying to become these affirmations, okay? You're not speaking these affirmations hoping one day in the future you will become them. You already are. This is a reminder of who you have always been. This is just you choosing to remember who you've always been, okay? Cool. I no longer bow to the words, to the world, right? To the circumstances. I bow to the presence that brings them into being. Okay. I bow to the presence that brings them into being. Okay. Number 2, every utterance that leaves my lips is law spoken from the throne of consciousness. Every utterance that leaves my lips is law spoken from the throne of consciousness. Yeah. Appreciate you, God. Appreciate you, God. Number 3, it is my awareness that awakens creation. Without me, oh shit. Just completely lost my place. I'm gonna say that again, okay? It is my awareness that awakens creation. Without me, the words are hollow echoes in eternity. It is my awareness that awakens creation. Without me, without you, the words are hollow echoes in eternity. With you, they are power. Yeah. Okay, number four. I am the pulse that gives vibration its meaning. There is no vibration without me. I am the pulse that gives vibration its meaning. I am the vibration of God. You ever understand that? Do you really understand that you are the vibration of God? You are the vibration of God. How could you ever be out of alignment? You are the wish fulfilled of the divine in human form. How could you ever be out of alignment? What does out of alignment even mean? It's just something that you make up. You are so in alignment that if you say you're out of alignment, reality will say yes. You are so in alignment that if you say you're out of alignment, reality will say yes. So why would you ever speak against? Why would you ever speak against what you want? Okay? I am the pulse that gives vibration its meaning. The fire that makes truth burn alive in form. Okay? I am the pulse that gives vibration its meaning. The fire that makes truth burn alive in form. I feel like that one was cold too. And last but certainly not least, right? The tool is nothing without the hand of God. I am that hand, the living word made flesh. That was a powerful one too. The tool is nothing without the hand of God, and I am that hand, the living word made flesh. Right? Remember, God has no hand without you. You are the identity of God. You are the identity of divinity, the identity of the Spirit of God. God is pure spirit, all that there is, and chose to manifest the fullness of itself within you. Beautiful. So when I speak as God. When I go into my imagination, I commune with God, right? When I speak about that divine God, that divine goddess, I'm speaking to God, about God, right? This changes even the way that you see worship. If I am God, if you are God, then the way I see you, the way that I choose to see you, is the way that I choose to see God. The way I speak about you, the way I choose to love you is the way that I choose to love God. Because God is everything. God is omnipresent. God is all that there is. Do you see that? Right? How can I call myself chosen and say someone else isn't? And say that I'm honoring God? Cool. All right. Love y'all. Love y'all. All right. So that was it for today. That was it for today. All right. So kind of I guess to summarize all of this up, right? You are the power behind every technique. Okay. Perfect. I'm glad you brought that question back up. The difference between manipulation and manifestation. Okay. All right. So let's talk about it. What's the difference between manifestation and manipulation? Or is there a difference? First of all, first thing I want y'all to remember and realize you're always manifesting. Always. Okay? You're always manifesting. Here's another thing to think about. Can you really manipulate someone? Here's a question. Maybe there's no right or wrong answer to that. Can you really manipulate somebody? Sure you can. Maybe not, right? If you're always manifesting, if everybody, it depends on what you think, right? But let me introduce this concept to you. Okay. So as Neville and a lot of these spiritual teachers talk about, they talk about everybody as you pushed out. They also talk about things like thought transmission, right? Okay. So if I think something, if I think someone's thinking something, then they'll think about it. This is, it's more profound than that. Okay. There is only one thought, one power, one source, one God, and it's I am. Okay. Reality just is. Existence just is. God just is. Okay. And so now you or me choose to take one individualized perspective of all that there is. Okay. So there's one thought, it's I am. And so let's say I say that I am prosperity right now. I am prosperity. Boom. So now everybody in reality, all of reality, then what? Mirrors that and proves that to me, right? They take on that thought as well to show me that I am prosperity, right? But I am is the truth. I am is everything. So it's not necessarily that your thoughts are popping up in somebody else's mind. It's simply that there's only one thought. You choose whatever you're thinking, whatever you choose, whatever perspective you choose to take of the all, it's reflected back at you. This is why if you study religions or if you talk to people with different religious views, which is always fun, sometimes it depends on their mindset, right? You will see that if I choose to take a perspective, reality will prove it to me. So this is why so many religious groups, right, they will be so anchored down in their belief, in their truth, because reality has to continuously prove that truth to them over and over and over again. That's just law. It's universal law. Okay. So what I accept as the truth for me, reality then reflects that back. So let's talk about manipulation and manifestation. How did I overcome addiction? I didn't overcome addiction. Where are you getting that from? I didn't overcome addiction. So let's talk about the difference between manifestation and manipulation. Okay. And I want to think about it in a simple term. Okay. Let's use a specific person as an example. Right now, you have this specific person that you want to receive in your life. You're choosing a different version of them. Okay. Cool. Now, if I have in my mind that this person is a cheater, okay, or if this person, they're sneaky, right? And I go up to them, right? I go up to them And now I am trying to get them to do something. I'm trying to go through physical reality to get them to do something. I'm trying to talk about them, talk to them and say, but look, I'm treating you so well. Why are you doing this to me? Well, you could consider that manipulation. If we want to think about it metaphysically, if I'm going through reality, trying to change reality, trying to manipulate reality, okay, we can call that manipulation, okay? Now, what is the difference between me having that conversation purely in the physical reality versus me having that conversation, but then knowing that, no, I see you are God, you are perfect, and this is how you're going to show up. This is how I choose you to show up. And now I simply take my steps. I do the best that I can. I walk through life. I see them as the ideal version of themselves, and I allow them the energetic space to actually change or morph, rearrange into who I decide for them to be. The only difference is that in one perspective, I'm trying to go through physical reality to change something. But another perspective, I'm knowing who they are, and then I simply exist in physical reality. I just do what I think is best. If I think that we should have a conversation, we should. If I think we shouldn't, we shouldn't. I simply exist. I simply am. I'm simply being in reality, knowing that it will change. That's it. That is it. So I don't want to talk about manifestation versus manipulation in a very physical way, because then it gets all confusing, convoluted, right? Because then people will put these other boundaries and limitations. They'll say, well, if I'm trying to manifest a specific person, should I call them? Who cares? Call them if you want. Don't call them if you don't want to. The important thing is not what you do, it's who you are when you do it. Do you remember who you are when you're doing whatever? Okay? Yeah. So, what are we trading this week? So, I felt like this morning I looked at the chart. I felt like it was going to be choppy. But I only do the index, S&P 500. I only do SPY, S&P 500. So I figured it was going to be choppy after that massive ass move on Friday. And I was like, I don't need to be greedy. And it's a bank holiday today. So I sat out. But I'll probably open back up the charts tomorrow. I'll be careful in tomorrow's morning session. I haven't really looked at the news. I'll be careful in tomorrow's morning session. If I don't see something that I like before 8:30 a.m. Central, before market open, I probably won't touch the market until the afternoon session if I don't see like a clear setup forming. But yeah, I'm sticking with SPY. If any of y'all are trading, bro, one thing that is very important to know right here is have the news up. Okay, have something up that is telling you about news events, so you don't get absolutely railed. Absolutely railed by something, and you're sitting there saying, I don't know what happened. What happened? Shit, look at the times we're in, right? So the market is going to be volatile. So yeah, I'm sticking with SPY. I'm sticking with my things. Honestly, the fall on Friday wasn't big enough for me to truly turn bearish. It wasn't. If we had like 2 days like that, cool. But honestly, I had been marking out these equal lows on, and we talked about this maybe a week or two ago, and I was like, it would have to be a big move to convince me that the market is bearish. We had a big move, but it just went to an expected level for me for a major pullback. Sometimes the news just kind of masquerades moves that the market needs to make, right? But I think this is a good opportunity to buy because the nature of the market is always going to go up. But I'm not too convinced that the market is finna go down a lot more. Not really convinced. Yeah. Oh, Powell speaks tomorrow. Powell speaks tomorrow. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm still bullish, and especially when we're so, I can't help but to be bullish, man. You have to convince me to get. I did go short Friday though. I did go short Friday, but only because I saw them. I was already in a short term put. I was already in a short, and just so happened I was just at the right place, right time. If I told you that I predicted that shit was gonna drop like that, yeah, call me a liar right now, right? I just so happened to get fortunate, to get lucky, but yeah, I'm still bullish. I'm still bullish. Matter of fact, I expected the market was gonna be choppy because I expected a bunch of people would be trying to chase the market down, and it's typically after those big moves. After those big moves, the next day is kind of, it leaves a little bit to be desired. So I ain't trying to. It was no need. It was no really real need for me to put on any risk. Yeah, for sure, for sure. How I've been talking about all this and preaching so much. Girl, what you talking about? All right, how to get in the state of being you talked about. Okay. When I speak of the state of being, all right, I'm speaking of a remembrance, right? The remembrance that sources within me that I am God, that everything that I do from this position of power, from this remembrance is magic. It's absolutely divine, right? So that's it. That's it. There's not a magical formula. It's not a feeling. It's not a feeling at all. It's not a. It's sometimes sometimes my thoughts still run sometimes, right? But it's about that divine remembrance of who you are throughout everything. I am God no matter what. I'm God no matter what. Exactly. So remembering that you are infinite and divine, the ego is fake and illusion. That goes back to what we've been talking about recently, even with people say, well, my ego's just doing this, or it's so hard to manage my thoughts, or it's so difficult for me to control my emotions. And I'm like, well, why are you trying to? Their emotions and thoughts are going to change all the time, but who do you say that you are? And then we give this large persona to the ego as if it's this big thing. The same way that we give this big persona to things like the subconscious mind or a nervous system that needs to be regulated, when the only reason that those things are in the way is because we say they're in the way. Your ego, it's not there to hurt you. It's not keeping you from anything. There's no subconscious mind keeping you from anything as well. There's just your belief that something is keeping you from everything. Because you're so powerful that right now, if you decide that there is something in the way, there is. That's how powerful you are. Right? The ego is a collection of stories that you have developed over time that have kept you safe. They've protected you. You've been in certain situations that have looked familiar, and the ego says, hey, bro, this is familiar. Let's not go down this path. Let me give you a feeling, or let me give you this thought, so that we don't make the same mistake, or so we don't go down. You simply have to decide, look, this is simply a perfect part of me too. This is not a real being. This is a part of me that was just meant to keep me safe. I don't have to listen to it. It has no power. It's just any time that I start thinking opposite, or I start feeling a way that I don't want, it's just an opportunity for an alarm to go off in my mind for me to say, oh, okay, cool. I get to choose what to do moving forward. That's it. Okay. It's nothing to be scared of. It's simply a perfect part of this human experience. That's all. Right? This process can be very simple. You already are what you desire to be. You're already prosperity. Like, you are the prosperity that you seek right now. Accept that. I don't care what you think 2 seconds from now. I don't care how you feel 5 minutes from now. You can simply return to, oh shoot, I already made the decision. I am prosperity because I am source. I am prosperity because I am source, and walk in that knowing. And then when things show up that don't look right, I can simply decide, you know what? I am the perfection in the situation. It's not that I have to say that the situation might not look ideal, but the God within me is perfect, so the situation must be unfolding perfectly. It's that when I walk into the room, I am the power. When you walk into the situation, when you put your awareness in the situation, you are the power. You can morph it into whatever you want. So it's about you. This is what that state of being is. It's simply us deciding who we are and letting, like, even we treat time like a prison. Well, what if it's taking so long? What do I have to do? And all these things. Time is simply meant for you to experience the becoming of yourself, not the becoming of yourself, but to experience the unfolding of yourself in the external reality. The moment you've made the decision or the choice that you are prosperity or that you have this person, it's done. Now we simply experience the unfolding of ourself from within us, right? Because reality is just you. So you are the seed within this puzzle piece, the puzzle piece, because reality is just you. You think of yourself as the seed within reality, okay? And everything out there is the beautiful crop, okay? So you decide that you are prosperity. Now you are already prosperity. You don't have to keep affirming for it. It's done. You don't have to keep visualizing for it. It's done. You continuously visualizing like you don't have it, like you're trying to be it, is simply you affirming that you're not it. But hear this, right? You've decided that you are it. It's done. Now you unfold as reality, because reality is just you. There's no as within, so without. There's no above, below. There's just you. You are reality. Now you begin to unfold from yourself into this external reality, and this external reality just becomes you. It's just an extension of you. So you are the seed walking around every step that you take. You are the seed, right? Carrying that divine source throughout reality, and it's unfolding to match you. And let's get a little deeper. This is why I push oneness so much, right? Is because the less that you see or perceive separation between who you are and who you want to be, first of all, when you accept that you are the person you want to be, but then the less that you perceive separation between you and the external reality, now things can flow faster. You hear me when I say that, right? What is the barrier that is causing things to unfold so slowly for you, quote unquote, slowly for you in the external reality? A lot of times it's your belief that it has to. It's your belief that the external world is something separate from you that you have to endure and suffer through to get what you want. Instead of accepting it, no, it's just me. Reality is just me. The same way that we think when we hear the kingdom is within you, we think it's something we have to dig in ourselves and find. Right? You got to take 17 ayahuasca retreats and take a pound of magic mushrooms and meditate for 18 hours straight before you find this kingdom. No, the kingdom, it's just you. We go from searching, trying to find some God out there, searching, to try to search to find some God within ourselves, when it just is you. It's just this divine acceptance that it is you. Okay? So it's simply our awareness and our stories that put all of these barriers in between us and God, when there is no barrier, because God is you. God is closer to you than you are to yourself. We simply make all of these barriers. I just need to tap in. Let me take this mushroom. I'll get my back beat out by my SP. And then I'll reach enlightenment, a Kundalini enlightenment. Right? All of those things are cool. But remember, you don't have to do any of that stuff to know that you're source, to have the life that you desire. You don't have to do any of that stuff. Y'all know me, I'm a big psychedelic advocate. Your boy loves them, right? They're divine teachers that should be respected. But when we place our power in things outside of ourselves, right? you can still have those same type of experiences with yourself. You don't. I've had mystical experiences by my damn self. No psychedelic. You don't have to. You don't have to go through those things to experience those items. You simply have to know that you can. You just have to know that you can. You have to know that those things aren't reserved for other people. They're part of your divine nature. God is not reserved for other people. God is not reserved for one group. Right? That's us that walk around saying chosen people. That God just is, y'all. It's us that make all these divisions so we can feel better about ourselves and pump our chest. As if God doesn't have a preference on your gender, on your race, on your sexual orientation, on any of that. Source, God just is. God just is. This religion that tries to put these humanized, this human concept of God together. Okay. I remember having my first profound trip. My first trip wasn't that profound because it was kind of like, well, okay. My first trip was not, it was like, I took a little bit and I was like, this is nothing. But the second time I took way too much. It was an extremely profound experience. Extremely profound experience. Yeah, I was able to see love as well, like experience that unconditional love as well. Well, everything simply dissolved into oneness. It was a love so pure that it made my heart it made me feel like my heart was gonna explode. It was like too much, right? But I will tell y'all the most profound mystical experience I had. Okay, the most profound mystical experience I had, which this experience wasn't even on anything. Okay, but I was just in this void. Okay, I was in this pure void, and in this void there was a single point of consciousness that was everything. This void was everything. It was beyond my mind. My mind wanted to crack open. Right. So it was one point of consciousness within this void, and it was everything, and it split into two. Okay, positive, negative, masculine, feminine, yin, yang, whatever you want to call it. It simply was like, oh, it's two. Then it split into three. Okay, and it made this triangle or this all-seeing eye. And the third point was like the observer. It was my ability to choose what I wanted, kind of representing of the eating of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Okay, which is simply our fall into duality as humans. It was not punishment. It was just forgetting. Right? It was not punishment at all. It was just forgetting. Right? It was us falling into judgment of things as good and bad, right or wrong. All right. So all of a sudden, these 3 points just begin splitting, and it was unreal. It felt like I was in there for years, decades, centuries, forever, right? And I saw planets rise and fall, civilizations rise and fall within planets. I saw stars being placed in areas with so much precision that I wanted to get out, but I didn't at the same time because it was just too much information. And that's one of the things that actually pushed me at that time. It pushed me like into astrology. But I watched even the earth being formed and the earth, like civilizations rising and falling on the earth, and then several other places. Okay. And the end of this experience was, it all culminated with my mother. And I saw my mother and my father in the hospital while I was being born. And I experienced myself being born. Boop, popped out. I looked. And I remember they had told me stories about this moment, right? When I was younger. And I was able to experience the love that they had for me. Which is pure love, right? And so I'm looking at them, they're looking at me. And then I grew up and I got pregnant myself, and I gave birth to myself. And I looked at myself and it's like, oh shit, like I fell in love with myself for the first time. It was this falling in love with myself. So That was a profound experience. It took me a while to kind of get over that experience. I was just like, I'm pregnant. Is there something my parents didn't tell me? It was all kinds of things going on in my mind. From that, just the more profound truths about have I really been loving myself, right? So that was one of the most profound experiences that I had without anything. But I've had a lot of mystical experiences, lots of mystical experiences. Appreciate you. And do I think we're alone? Do I? If I start talking about this, y'all, I don't care. I don't care. I believe that we even use extraterrestrials to put power outside of ourselves. I've been on that journey, right? Of course, I know about all these species and Anunnaki and the Greys and all. I know about all that stuff, right? So it's not out of ignorance that I say this. It's that we tend to think that these things out there are more powerful than us. And at this point in time, right, no one can even prove to me that space exists. No one can even prove to me that space exists, right? It's all to me in my reality. It doesn't matter. It does not exist. All that exists is what I can perceive. This is how I put it, right? If you remember back when we first, quote unquote, went to the moon, okay, back when TVs were in black and white, right? Like today, I can still, like if I drive under a bridge, I'll lose phone service. But somehow, right, a rocket shot to the moon and they communicated back. I'm just saying. So for me to believe that should happen, right? You blast a rocket off, it's falling apart. The people in the cockpit are just, they went out in that motherfucker, took a couple of jumps, planted a flag, got back in this little capsule and somehow got that motherfucker back to Earth and walkie-talkied back while they were... for me to believe, you're going to have to strap me onto a rocket and send me to space. But I would never get in the rocket, so you can't prove it to me anyway. So those are one of those things that I used to care about that so much. Like, I used to be, this looks like a fucking green screen to me, right? But now it's like, I don't really care. I don't really care. Like, we did that shit and then we haven't been able to do it again. Or we have, there are certain stories where it's not that that we do have space stations and things that we're using, communicating with other entities, etc. And cool, yeah, I've had experiences with a lot of different entities, but I think in this point in my life, it's just, I used to look at that information because it interested me, and once I got into kind of this path, all that dissolved. All that kind of dissolved, right? So yeah, all that dissolved. Dog says, shut your bitch ass up. Let's see what you look like. Let's see who is talking. Let's see who is... It's always some loser. All right, brother. All right, my brother. It's always some loser. But all right, y'all. So I appreciate y'all, okay? Remember that you are source, you are God, you are all that there is, okay? You are all that there is, right? Everything that you desire, you already have it. It's already there. You simply need to accept that you already have it, all right? I'll be probably back this afternoon or this evening, perhaps. We'll do more Q&A then as well, all right? But I appreciate y'all. Y'all are gods. Y'all are goddesses, all right? You are absolutely perfect. You're divine, right? And until next time, right, stay prosperous. Peace out.